So what are we going to see with Mau Mau next? Hey everyone, welcome to Princess Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with my blind reaction to episode 7 of the Apothecary Diaries. So, I know that was a bit of a vague cold open, wasn't really saying much. Um, but it's a valid question because it feels like we had the party and everything last episode. We had the stuff with the poison testing and being successful. We had the other courtesans shown, including this younger one. Um, and she was, almost poisoned if things hadn't been switched around. And it was her lady in waiting who did it, apparently, which I wasn't 100% sure on last time and had to be clarified for because I just wasn't sure enough to say much of anything about that. Um, but yeah, it's like this whole thing happened. Mau Mau also got a hairpin from this one dude. Oh, excuse me. I think she actually got a couple of them. So there's that. And she just got really excited over poison, which she tends to do. So yeah, it's a legitimate question. I feel, what is going to happen with Mau Mau this time? Are we going to continue anything from last episode? Are we going to do a completely new thing? I don't know. I don't know exactly what this is setting up for. So I guess we're just going to have to get into this and find out. Short pre-thoughts, but that can happen sometimes. So let's see what this episode has in store for us. Hold up just a sec. Before you click that link down in the description below to get to today's video, I want to remind you of all the awesome content we have both on this channel and the Princess of Gaming channel. Let's check it out. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So, this was an interesting episode. The first half of it kind of continues off of last time, having Mau Mau recovering from, ingesting poison and, taking a rest a little longer. But on top of that, we also see the entire thing she has going on with the silver bowl and everything, with the poisoned food. She's kind of analyzing it and doing this forensic stuff on it to try and figure more out. And it seems like she's kind of put together that multiple people touched it. And we don't know who actually poisoned it as of yet, but we've gotten more information. And one big piece of information that we've gotten is that it seems like Lady Lishu, the smaller concubine, the smaller lady, she is, or younger, I should say, too. She is being bullied by her ladies in waiting, which is not supposed to happen for a number of reasons. But because of her young age and all of the, drama surrounding her, it seems like she doesn't maybe even fully understand that she's being bullied. She's being, even with the dress color and everything, and her ladies in waiting wearing a different color to the garden party, they're just fucking with her. And it's really fucked for a number of reasons. It seems like this entire situation is just not okay. And yeah, it kind of makes sense considering everything else. There's a lot about this entire situation that's just not okay, and her age being obviously a big part of that. And so Mao Mao's still trying to figure it out with Gao Shun's help. Um, I like Gao Shun and Jinshi's little interaction as well when he's telling Jinshi about all of this. Um, because they're just best friends. Like they have such like strong best friend energy, and I love it. Um, but we also find out from Mao Mao's friend, the other servant girl, that the hairpins actually have a special um, application, we'll say. They can be used to allow the person who receives them temporary leave from the palace. So Mao Mao would be able to go home for a couple days. Now, it mentions multiple points in the episode. There's also another reason for them. And although it doesn't say it directly, we know what they're talking about. It's sex. Like, based on the one dude's, the officer who gave it to her, based on his reaction when she came to him, and all based on, like, Gyokyo's reaction, all, it's very clear what it was about. It's like her returning that. It's like she's supposed to, like, give herself over to the person sexually in exchange for the favor. Um, and Gyokyo and them are saying that she doesn't understand that's how it's supposed to work, but I think she does. I think she actually fully understands that, and I think that's why she offered this dude um, the opportunity to see the three princesses at the brothel. I like she, instead of offering her own body, she offered the body of like three of the biggest name concubines out there, like these basically celebrity brothel workers. And so she knew exactly how to get him to agree to this. I think she entirely knew what she was doing. Mao Mao is very smart. She may be a little goofy, she may be a little standoffish, she may not understand everything, and she may still be learning, but I think she's smart enough to understand what the hairpins meant. Because she even acknowledged, it's like when she was thinking about who to like ask of the two men who gave her one, it's like, would a eunuch count? And she's like thinking like, would Jinshi count for this? Jinshi would have probably helped her anyway. He probably would have done it without needing anything in return. But she specifically knew about the sexual favor aspect of it, and like she was thinking about it, like would he count because of offering the brothel workers as compensation instead. So it's like, yeah, that tracks. I think she fully knew. Um, but then like in like the last third of the episode, we actually get to see her go home, and that's an interesting aspect for a number of reasons. Because we get to see her return to the brothel and see the old lady who runs it again. Um, their interaction is pretty fun, but obviously, the dude goes in to experience it and have fun. Mao Mao can't pay for everything, it seems, because, the money would be up there to hire one of, like, the best brothel workers, most, like, big name celebrity brothel workers. I could absolutely see that. Especially, like, if they're, like, constantly um, hounded by others to serve. So, but Mao Mao's just in debt. So it's just like she could pay some of it, but not all of it. She's just going to be in debt. But the old lady's like, oh, just bring more guys here. It's like, get those fat coin purses our way. But she also tells Mao Mao she should probably visit her home as well. Her father is there currently. And so she does. She goes home, she sees her father again and talks to him, tells him everything that happened. And she was, you could tell, pretty excited to get to see him and tell him about everything. Um, he seemed very casual about her returning, though, because it's been like almost a year at this point. Like they made that pretty clear. But his reaction is like, "Oh, you've been gone a while." It's like she went out like for a few hours more than expected. That was kind of his reaction, and that's a little weird for her to be gone for like this many months, over half a year, like almost a full year. And then at the end, like when she's going to lay down for sleep, he also mentions that's curious about the rear palace. And it made a point of focusing on that. Does he know something about the rear palace? Is he surprised that that's where she was taken? What's the deal with this? Like, there's got to be something about that. And it's like there's obviously a lot of thoughts swirling in my head regarding it, but I feel like we just don't have enough information to guess. Maybe we'll touch on that next episode. I don't know. But just as a note, I want to make this kind of announcement, I guess, right now. Next episode, which will be next week during the shortened week for Thanksgiving and all. We're going to be obviously doing episode 8 of Apothecary Diaries still. That one's not one of the ones being cut out for the week. But I am letting you know now that episode 8 will be our last episode of Apothecary Diaries for the year. And we're basically going on break from it, like we do with a lot of shows. For those of you who may be newer to the channel and whatnot and don't understand like why I would do this, it's like I tend to like to put shows on break at certain points during their run in order to avoid possible burnout. I don't even want to really get close to burnout. So if I'm ever reaching a point where it's like, okay, I could take a conceivable break here, come back to this show later, I would rather do that than force myself to get through more of it and potentially grow to resent the show a little bit. I've had that happen with various shows in the past, and I just don't want to repeat that. So I feel like it's the best choice in the moment. Now, Apothecary Diaries, the first season at least, I believe is like 24 episodes, which means 8 episodes is a third of the way through. And by that logic, if I took another break after episode 16, I would then have 3 sets of watching through this with 8 episodes each. And I think I could handle that. Unless the series ends up being like really exciting after that point and I take like less of a break, or I just don't end up taking a second break. I don't know. But as of where the series is at right now, it's like it has like these kind of almost episodic stories where it's like each story is like 1 or 2 episodes long and then it just kind of moves on to something else. And I think with what this is doing at the moment, I think a break here would be a smart idea. And I want to make that very clear. It is just a break. We will return to Apothecary Diaries. But we're going to take a break from it. And there's another reason I'm going to be doing this as well. Because this is the only conceivable slot that's going to open up at the right time for something else I already planned on doing. So you might remember we did a first impression to the series Sanda, which is an anime about Santa Claus. And I mentioned when I reacted to the first impression that I plan to get back to that during the holiday season for obvious reasons. And so there's not really another show that I feel like I could conceivably put on break or cut off at the moment besides this. I think this is just the best decision for that as well if I am going to actually, get to Sanda during the holiday season. So it just kind of works out in terms of the timing, because again, with the 8 episodes being exactly a third of the way through the season, and it works out because next week is also the last week of November, and then the week afterwards begins December, so it gets right into that at the right timing. So yeah, we will again have Apothecary Diaries next week, but then after that we're going to take a break, we'll have Sanda replace it. Early reveal for that. But again, it's like I already mentioned, I was going to get back to that here. And then we'll come back to Apothecary Diaries at some point in the future. Maybe maybe as early in the new year as we can. I don't know. I can't promise anything right now. But I will want to get back to this because I am very much enjoying Apothecary Diaries. It's been a pretty good series. So it's more than likely not going to be too long of a wait, but I can't I can't promise exactly when we'll return to it. My hope would be by the end of February at the latest. Um, but we'll see for sure and kind of go from there. But we will be returning to it. So no worries there. I want to specify that. I want to drill that in. We are not dropping it. We are just going to take a break. It's just, again, it's the only thing on my schedule right now I could conceivably, like, take off of to put Sanda into the schedule. And so it just all works out on every level. But that being said, we still have one more episode to go before that happens. So in the comments down below, let me know what you thought of this episode. What do you think of Mau Mau getting to go home? Do you also believe that Mau Mau knew the meaning of the hairpins? And what do you think about the entire information discovered through examining the silver bowl? Let me know your thoughts on all of that and more down below. And as always, no spoilers, please. For now, though, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.